Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know, once in a while, a video that I post gets a lot of responses that show deep division with fight fans over an upcoming fight. I made a video earlier today. It's entitled On Felix Trinidad's Concern with Cotto About Mayweather's Speed. And in the video I pointed out that I thought that Cotto had much bigger problems than Mayweather's speed. That video got some great responses from, I'll call them the YouTube Nation, hardcore fight fans. I always learn a lot reading the comments. And hardcore fight fans seem to think that the idea of Floyd Mayweather walking down Miguel Cotto is laughable. Not all fans. I know some, Craig Kramer, for example, agrees with me. But many believe that Cotto is just too powerful for that to happen. That there's a possibility that Floyd Mayweather outboxes Miguel Cotto. But the idea of Mayweather stepping forward and actually stopping Cotto is just outside the realm of possibility. You know, I beg to differ. In fact, let's go further. Some of the viewers, and keep in mind, the people who watch my videos really tend to be hardcore fight fans. If you want to know what hardcore fight fans are thinking, forget my videos, read the comments to them. Some of the people have commented that Miguel Cotto has only lost twice. Both were to fighters who pursued him. Antonio Margarito, Manny Pacquiao, fighters fighting on their front foot, not their back foot. They want to know how Floyd, fighting off of his back foot presumably, will be able to knock out Miguel Cotto or even beat him in a meaningful manner. Let me give you my opinion, which is the other side of the coin. I actually believe Floyd gets the knockout. I disagree completely with a lot of the pundits. I not only expect Floyd to dominate the fight, particularly after the third round, but I truly am expecting Floyd to literally be the pursuer in the fight. If you think Floyd Mayweather is just a back foot fighter, then quite frankly, you don't know Floyd Mayweather. You know, Mayweather at times has fought defensively against fighters, right? But understand that Floyd has also fought guys where he has stepped forward because the other fighter had holes in his game, and he has literally destroyed that fighter. Take a look online at Floyd Mayweather against Arturo Gatti. That's a mismatch. Floyd's not waiting on Arturo Gatti in that fight. Now, keep in mind, this is the same Arturo Gatti who had legendary fights against Ivan Robinson and against Mickey Ward, right? This is a guy who came to fight, right? Gotti's reputation was that he left it in the ring. Not only that, Gatti had some legendary fights where he was even down in a fight, got off the canvas, and then was able to come back and win the fight. Gatti really was one of boxing's ultimate warriors. Take a look at the film of that fight. Mayweather knows Gotti's pattern. Mayweather knows that he can land certain punches on Arturo Gatti. He knows what Gotti's going to throw probably before Gatti knows, right? And that domination is masterful. Mayweather starts slow by design because he's adaptive reactive. He's a counterpuncher by nature. But once Mayweather realizes that he has an advantage on you, he'll step forward on you. Look at the Philip Endu fight. right? Let me go one step further. There seems to be some misimpression that Floyd Mayweather lacks punching power. You know, that is far from the truth. Let's think it through. You saw Victor Ortiz get up off the canvas against Andre Berto, who is a big puncher. I'm a Berto skeptic, but Berto has a punch. I'll concede that. Right now, you saw Victor Ortiz get up off the canvas against Andre Berto. You saw Victor Ortiz get up off the canvas against Marcus Maidana, another guy who's known as a big puncher. Right? These are big punchers. Victor Ortiz got up off the canvas against both of them. Now, Ortiz is on his feet when the Marcus Maidana fight is stopped. In fact, Ortiz really, it looked like to me, didn't want to continue. Ortiz actually beats Andre Berto. Now, take a look at how hurt Victor Ortiz is when he's hit by Floyd Mayweather. Now, I understand it's coming out of a break. I'm not going to say otherwise, but let me just say, you've got to have punching power to knock a professional fighter down and have him physically unable to beat the count. Right? That's what Floyd Mayweather did in his last fight. Right? People who don't understand that Mayweather packs a punch really just haven't been paying attention. Let me go one step further. When Mayweather fought Ricky Hatton, can all of us agree that the hardest time to knock out a fighter is the first time? Right? Certain guys will have no chin problems whatsoever for years. Then that chin gets dented, then it's never the same. Right? Well, understand, Ricky Hatton had never been knocked out. Never been knocked out in his career. In fact, he was unbeaten when he faced Floyd Mayweather. Right? Ricky Hatton wasn't in shape to continue the Mayweather fight. That's a good stoppage. When you see Hatton on the canvas, he's badly hurt. By the way, let me also point out something obvious. Right? I think we all intuitively understand weight. Right? Ricky Hatton, forget the record. Ricky Hatton, who had weight problems in his career, I would argue was a lot sturdier at 147 pounds, the weight at which he fought Floyd Mayweather, than he was at 140 pounds, the weight at which he fought Manny Pacquiao. Right? I mean, if you want to look at fighters at risk, in fact, some of the fighters who have been killed in the ring are guys who had to lose a lot of weight before a fight. We recently had a fight where Eric Morales showed up to the weigh-in 2 pounds overweight and didn't even want to risk losing 2 pounds before the fight. Right? Weight loss on an older fighter, a guy who's not in his early 20s, is a serious issue. Right? Now, the fact that Manny Pacquiao knocked out, and Pacquiao packs a punch too, the fact that Manny Pacquiao knocked out Ricky Hatton after Floyd did isn't as impressive to me as Floyd stopping Hatton the first time in Hatton's career at a heavier weight. Right? And of course, Mayweather, relatively early on, put down Juan Manuel Marquez. Right? Mayweather then outboxed him the rest of the way. The point is, you're seeing glimpses of power. Now, against someone like Miguel Cotto, right, who gets hit. Think about the Margarito fight. Forget how completely marked up his face looked. Let's just forget for a second the hand wrap issue. Right? The point is simply that Margarito was landing on his face. You want to see a swollen Miguel Cotto face? Look at Cotto's face after the Pacquiao fight. He got hit in the face. Look at Cotto's face after the Joshua Clottey fight. Read the cuts. He got hit in the face, right? Cotto gets hit, right? You can tell that he's a professional fighter just by looking at his face. His face looks like it has had some trauma. So we know Cotto gets hit. Let's also talk weight for a second. Understand that Cotto used to be at 140. Let me also point out, let's talk chins. Cotto got knocked down at 140. At the time, we heard that the reason Cotto was getting knocked down, the Ricardo Torres fight, the reason Cotto was getting knocked down was that he had a problem losing the weight and that he was weight drained at 140. Well, understand, Cotto got stopped by Margarito at 147. If you want to discount the Margarito fight because of hand wraps, and keep in mind, let's be careful when we make the hand wrap allegation, because understand, for Antonio Margarito to have been using hand wraps his entire career, he would have to be conning the boxing commission of the locality of the fight. Now understand, even if he had conned California, they're the people who oversaw his fight against Shane Mosley. That fight was at Staples. Even if Antonio Margarito found a way to get around the California commission, do any of us really believe that Antonio Margarito found a way to get around the state of Nevada's commission? By the way, completely different boxing commission. Completely different. And keep in mind, the protocol is for a boxing commission person to be there while your hands are being wrapped. Also ask yourself, and it's a serious question, I understand many in boxing question it, maybe his hands were loaded for the Cotto fight, I don't know. But ask yourself, if his hands were loaded for the Cotto fight, how could he, after the fight, have taken off his gloves in the ring? Right? I know Cotto is pointing out that it looks like one part of his bandage on his hand is torn. But if you had sulfur, plaster of Paris on your hands, would you take off your gloves right after the fight and then have the hand wraps visible to the press? Isn't after the fight, when the Larry Merchants and Max Kellermans of the world are in the ring and everyone's looking at you, including the promoters? You know, Oscar De La Hoya is usually in the ring after a fight. If it's a top rank production, Bob Arum is in the ring after a fight. In other words, if you had loaded gloves, does anyone here believe that Luis Resto, the guy who had loaded gloves in the Billy Collins fight, would have taken off the glove and actually had his hand wraps visible after a fight with the press in the ring, after the biggest upset of his career? You know, those are the questions you really have to ask yourself. Well, the point is this. Cotto's not bigger than Mayweather. Right? Cotto now is fighting at 154 pounds. Mayweather's fighting at 147. Right? But both guys came up through lesser weights. Cotto's not big for a guy who's 154. No one's talking about Cotto being in the mix at 160, an unsettled division, with big names like Chavez Jr., Sergio Martinez, Dmitry Pirog, Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Geale. No one's putting Cotto in that mix because he'd be small for middleweight. Right? And keep in mind, 154, let's be clear, Floyd Mayweather has already been a champion at 154, beating a guy who physically was much bigger than Cotto at 154. In fact, Oscar De La Hoya, as Europeans know, was awarded a decision against Felix Sturm. and actually fought Bernard Hopkins for the middleweight title at 160. Right? So Floyd's been in the ring with big guys. Let me also say this too. Miguel Cotto's boxing skills. People are telling me, I said Cotto has a problem going backwards. And many viewers said, what about the Margarito fight? Is anyone here really going to compare Floyd Mayweather's foot speed to Antonio Margarito's foot speed? Not only that, did Cotto do such a good job fighting backwards in the first Margarito fight? You're telling me that after losing to Margarito in the second fight, Cotto looked like he showed more back movement fighting on his back foot, right? Well, let me just say this. Didn't Antonio Margarito have Cotto up on the ropes in that fight? Isn't the issue of Cotto's stamina still an open question for what would have happened in the last 2 rounds of that fight? I think it's a mistake to look at Cotto being able to survive Antonio Margarito in a truncated rematch where between several rounds the doctor's hopping in the ring and asking the Margarito corner about his eye. I think it's a mistake to equate that to a fight with Floyd Mayweather. Here's what I think happens. Right? I think Cotto, who's been hurt badly by some Floyd Mayweather sparring partners. Take a look at the DeMarcus Corley-Cotto fight at 140. Right? I believe early in the fight, Cotto's going to have his best opportunity. Early. But once Floyd figures out the angles, right, there's nothing stopping Floyd Mayweather from trying to walk down Miguel Cotto. Nothing. Right? If Floyd starts to come forward, what's Cotto going to do? If Cotto starts backing up like he did against Antonio Margarito, does anyone think Floyd's going to take his foot off the gas? Also, Floyd's accuracy is such that if Floyd starts coming forward and starts landing on Miguel Cotto, and understand, and I know this is heresy, there's an open question, quite frankly, on who has the best left hook in this fight. As good as Miguel Cotto's left hook is, and it's beautiful, Floyd Mayweather has a crippling left hook. Crippling. Let me just point out too that Floyd was actually up on the ropes when he hit Hatton with the check left hook. What happens if Floyd's hunting you down and landing left hooks? Also, punching power is really a function of not just leverage, but it's also a function of timing. And Floyd Mayweather's timing magnifies the power of his punches. So, to sum up, since he has the kind of punching power that could keep a Victor Ortiz on the canvas for 10 seconds, since he has the kind of punching power that could stop Ricky Hatton for the first time in his career, and since Cotto has shown signs of having a chin that's not quite an A-plus chin. Wasn't he down that first Margarito fight? Forget hand wraps. Wasn't he down at 140 against Ricardo Torres? Right? Also, look hard at the Floyd-Shane Mosley tape. You're going to see that Floyd actually, in my opinion, was trying to walk down Shane Mosley until he got hit with a Mosley right hand. Right? Well, let me just say this. Cotto doesn't have that kind of right hand. Right? Cotto doesn't. But if you look at the beginning of the Shane Mosley fight against a guy with a huge punch, Floyd was actually trying to walk him down. Changed his plan and went to plan B after he got hit a couple of times. All I'm saying is, if Floyd's in against a left hooker who doesn't have a right hand, do you think he's going to get hit like he got hit in the Shane Mosley fight? And if he's not hit like he got hit in the Shane Mosley fight, what's to prevent him from walking down Miguel Cotto? I think Floyd has a shot at a knockout. I'm going to disagree with YouTube Nation. We'll see what happens. I hope you leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com, and I do hope you continue to leave comments on that On Felix Trinidad's Concern video. Those comments are excellent comments, and I hope we continue the dialogue. All right, thanks for watching.